McCrae Farms has been a family farm for 8 generations. We are a dairy farm and a beef farm primarily, but we have a large woodlot as well. The total acreage of the farm is around 6,000 acres, with 1,000 acres cleared for farm and the rest woodlot. We try to manage the woodlot for a number of different objectives, from harvesting to deer habitat, and then we have a farm vacation component to our business as well, so we have a recreation aspect on the farm too. This 3 acres that encompasses the project is an area that is part of the funding model woodlot. It is an area that we've quite often used for tours and demonstrations. We are on part of the original farm, so the original 250 acres of the farm that has been the family farm for those number of generations. It's an area that we use a lot for recreation purposes. We ski and snowshoe through here in the winter time. It's an important area for our tourism side of the business, as well as our commercial side of the forestry operation. It's a great spot for hunting. It's good for hiking in the summer, and we try to harvest in this area with all of those other objectives in mind. This area was originally cut in the late 70s or early 80s and was pre-commercially thinned in the 90s.
For this brace project, we decided to focus on an area that's very common across the province of New Brunswick. Pre-commercial thinning became very popular in the late 80s, early 90s. And at that time, the softwood market was predominant. And so the areas were pre-commercially thinned, favoring fir and spruce. And basically it was, let's eradicate the hardwoods. So we were left with a lot of sites that are just like this one was right here, where a lot of fir, a little bit of spruce because it's not as popular, but most of the hardwoods were removed. The white pine would be retained if it was there, and the white birch was just or red maple would just be a space holder. So this is behind me here is the traditional area. When they come in to harvest here, they normally would want to salvage the fir. It's getting up at 40 years old. We see this all over the province as well. What do you do with these sites? The fir is expected to decline and is declining. So we wanted to know what to do on these sites. So the traditional treatment would either be to clear cut it, or in this case, there was a few species that were left. We have some white pine on site, and if you notice, there's actually a few cones out to drop seed, and the spruce are left, and there's a few white birch left as well on site. So, but all the fir has been removed. It's now 40 years old and mature. You want to get it before it turns red and starts to rot. So this is the traditional site that was left. Where we are located here, there is a concern over wind, and wind is a very large issue coming up with climate change. We are getting a lot of very strong gusts of wind. We're seeing a lot more blowdowns. So in a site like this, there is a chance that a lot of these trees could get blown down just because they are a little bit more open. And where they traditionally might stand, there's a good chance we could lose some of these over the next few years. In the next site, we're keeping wind in mind, so there's a few more trees left. And then also to increase the diversity, because basically when you cut an area like this, I'm sure in a few years you're going to see a carpet of fir coming up underneath. And so we're trying to keep the fir out of it. So we're looking later on, McCrae Farms will be dragging the sites and to disturb the soil and create seed beds. We're hoping to get the spruce and the white pine to drop some seed, and we may also do a little underplanting with white pine or red spruce to get a little more species diversity, or maybe even stick a few hardwoods in.